Elena Voss remembered every detail of the night her world ended. The great hall of the Blackthorn Pack had been full of light and noise. Pack members gathered for what she believed was an ordinary council meeting. She had stood beside Damien, her mate and Alpha King, wearing the silver pendant he had given her on their bonding day. She had no idea that within the hour, he would stand before the entire pack and speak the words that would break her. "I reject Elena Voss as my Luna and mate." The words landed like a blade. A rejection was not just a broken promise. It was a wound that tore through the body and the heart at once, a pain that came from deep inside the bond itself. Elena had fallen to her knees in front of everyone, gasping, as murmurs spread through the hall. Beside Damien stood Serafina, his childhood friend, smiling as though she had been waiting for this moment her whole life. No one stopped to ask Elena if she was well. No one noticed that she had been quietly unwell for weeks, tired in the mornings, avoiding certain foods. She hadn't even told Damien yet. She had wanted to wait for the right moment, a quiet evening, a smile they could share together. That moment never came. That same night, Elena packed a single bag and left Blackthorn territory. She did not say goodbye to her parents, did not explain herself to anyone. She simply walked into the human world and did not look back. 3 years passed. Elena built a new life in a small coastal town where the wolves rarely traveled. She worked as a veterinary assistant, a job that let her use her quiet gift with animals without revealing what she truly was. She wore a charm around her neck, bought from an old witch in a market 2 towns over, one that hid her wolf scent from anyone who might come looking. She kept to herself, made a few careful friends, and raised her son alone. Kalen was 3 years old now, a bright and curious boy, with dark hair like his mother, and sharp golden eyes that flashed brighter whenever he was upset or excited. Elena had learned to read the signs. When Kalen's eyes shifted color, it meant he sensed something before she did. Once, at the grocery store, he had tugged her sleeve and insisted they leave immediately. Minutes later, a car had lost control on the very street they would have been crossing. She had stopped questioning his instincts after that. She told him small stories about his father being far away, working somewhere important. It was not a lie, not really. She simply left out the details a 3-year-old did not need to carry. Life was hard sometimes, especially through the winters, but it was hers. She had built it with her own hands, and for the first time in years, she felt something close to peace. That peace broke on a quiet Tuesday afternoon. Elena was at the small park near their apartment, watching Kalen chase a ball across the grass, when she noticed a man standing near the tree line, watching them both too closely. He was tall, dressed plainly, but something about the way he moved told her instantly what he was: a wolf. Her heart began to race. She called Kalen to her side immediately, wrapping her hand tightly around his small fingers, and walked quickly toward home, refusing to look back. She spent that night packing bags, ready to run again if she needed to, but the knock never came, not that night. It came 4 days later. She heard the car first, an engine too smooth and expensive for their quiet street, then footsteps on the stairs, heavy and certain. When she opened the door, her breath caught in her throat. Damien stood there, exactly as she remembered him, and yet different too. His eyes carried 3 years of something she could not name. Behind him stood 2 enforcers, silent and watchful. Elena. His voice cracked slightly on her name. She did not invite him in. She stood in the doorway, blocking his view of the apartment, though she knew it was already too late. The enforcer who had seen them at the park had clearly reported what he found. "You have a son," Damien said. It was not a question. Elena's chin lifted. "I have a son," she confirmed. "Mine. He's mine too." Damien's voice shook, caught somewhere between anger and disbelief. "I felt it the moment I stepped into this town. I felt him before I even saw him." Kalen appeared behind Elena's legs, peering curiously at the stranger. His golden eyes locked onto Damien's matching ones, and for a moment, neither of them moved. "Da," Kalen whispered, the words slipping out before he seemed to understand what he was saying, some instinct older than memory pulling it from him. Elena's chest tightened painfully. She had never once mentioned that word to him. Damien dropped to one knee slowly, careful not to frighten the boy. "Hello?" he said softly, his voice gentler than Elena had heard in years. "My name is Damien." That evening, after Kaylin had fallen asleep, Elena finally let Damien into the apartment, though she kept the kitchen table firmly between them like a wall. "You rejected me," she said flatly, "in front of everyone. You didn't ask if I was pregnant. You didn't ask anything. You just said the words and let me fall apart on the floor." Damien's jaw tightened. "I know what I did. I have relived that night more times than I can count. But Elena, something was wrong that night. I don't fully understand it myself. Not yet. It felt like I wasn't choosing. It felt like something was pulling the words out of my mouth." Elena studied him carefully, searching his face for the lie she expected to find. She found none, only exhaustion, and something that looked painfully like regret. "That doesn't undo it," she said quietly. "Words don't come back once they're spoken. A rejection doesn't heal, because you're sorry 3 years later." "I'm not asking you to forgive me tonight," Damien said. "I'm asking to know my son. Whatever happens between us, he deserves a father." Elena wanted to refuse. Every protective instinct in her told her to close the door and disappear again, before morning. But she thought of Kaylin's small voice whispering, "Da," without ever being taught the word, and something in her resolve softened, just slightly. "You get to meet him," she said carefully. "That's all I'm offering right now, nothing more." Damien nodded, accepting the boundary without argument, though the sadness in his eyes told her he had hoped for more. Over the following weeks, Damien returned again and again, always careful, always patient. He learned Kaylin's favorite foods, sat through his endless questions about wolves and stars, and slowly earned small, precious smiles from the boy who had never known a father before. Elena watched from a careful distance, her heart caught between old wounds and something she refused to name. But peace rarely lasts long in the world Elena had once belonged to. Word of the hidden heir spread quickly through pack circles, and not everyone welcomed the news kindly. Serafina, who had spent 3 years as Luna in name only, unable to carry a child of her own despite the bond ceremony, saw Kaylin's existence as a direct threat to everything she had built. A true heir, born before the rejection took hold, held a claim to the throne that she could never challenge through pack law. She began quietly working against Elena, first through whispered doubts among the pack elders, questioning whether the child was truly Damien's, then through colder, more dangerous methods. Elena noticed the signs slowly: strange cars parked too long near her apartment, a break-in at the veterinary clinic, where nothing was stolen but everything was searched, a message left anonymously, warning her to leave town before something worse happened. When Elena told Damien, his expression turned to stone. "Stay inside," he said. "Both of you. I will handle this." What Damien uncovered over the following days shook him more than he expected. A witch, tracked down through pack contacts, confessed under careful questioning that she had sold Serafina a rare compulsion herb years earlier, one capable of mimicking the pull of a mating bond for a short but critical window of time. Serafina had used it the night of the council meeting, clouding Damien's mind just long enough to force the rejection from his lips before the effect faded. Damien had not truly rejected Elena. He had been manipulated into it, his own bond twisted and hidden from him in the space of a single ceremony. The truth landed heavier than Damien expected, a mixture of relief and fury tangled together. Relief that his instincts, the ones that had never truly stopped calling for Elena even after the rejection, had been right all along. Fury at the years stolen from all 3 of them because of one woman's jealousy. He requested an emergency council meeting, bringing the witch forward as a witness, alongside pack investigators who confirmed the herb's effects on wolf bonds. Serafina denied everything at first, her composure cracking only when the witch described the exact transaction, down to the payment and the date. The pack elders, faced with undeniable evidence, stripped Serafina of her title immediately. She was banished from Blackthorn lands before nightfall, her carefully built position crumbling in a single afternoon. Elena, standing quietly at the back of the hall with Kaylin's small hand in hers, felt something long frozen inside her begin to thaw. It didn't undo the pain of that night 3 years ago, and it didn't erase the years spent hiding and surviving alone. But it changed the story. She had not been discarded because she wasn't enough. She had been stolen from, deceived alongside everyone else in that hall. After the council meeting ended, Damien found her outside, the evening air cool and quiet around them. "I'm not asking you to forget what happened," he said carefully. "I know 3 years can't be erased by one meeting. But I am asking if there's still a place for me, not just as Kaylin's father, but as your mate, if you'll have me." Elena looked at him for a long moment, weighing years of pain against the small, undeniable comfort of watching him kneel beside Kaylin every evening without fail, patient and steady in a way she hadn't expected. "You'll have to earn it," she said finally, slowly, "not because pack law says I owe you anything, but because I choose to let you try." Damien's shoulders relaxed for the first time in what felt like years. "That's all I'm asking for," he said, "the chance to try." Kaylin, sensing the shift in the air between his parents, ran forward and wrapped one small arm around each of their legs, holding them together, without understanding the full weight of what he had done. Elena looked down at her son, then up at the man beside her, and for the first time since that terrible night in the Great Hall, she allowed herself to believe that some broken things could still be rebuilt, not through magic or bonds forced by fate, but through patience, honesty, and the slow, careful work of choosing each other again. The road ahead would not be simple. Trust, once shattered, rarely returns whole. But standing there in the quiet evening light, with her son's laughter ringing between them, and the truth finally out in the open, Elena felt something she had not felt in 3 long years. Hope. And this time, she intended to protect it with everything she had.